Thanks everyone, thanks for the invite to speak today. Oh, this is good, sitting is good. Is that all right with you? Okay, so first I should just say that the sort of division of the division that Fred and I have come up with the talks, I'm actually not really going to touch on the referendum, although I think what I am going to talk about, which is sort of basically to give you a bit of an overview of some of our experiences on the recent academic exchange, and through that a bit of a general reflection on education in Venezuela. And I think all I can say is that hopefully it'll be a neat link between the two, because obviously, you know, one of the main points about the whole referendum process is the ongoing ideological battle in Venezuela, and in my opinion, the reforms to education, and I suppose more specifically the ideological penetration that's occurring through the reforms nationally to the education system are at the heart of that battle. But yeah, I'll leave the ins and outs of that exciting bit to Fred. So just to start, and someone should give me indicators as to how. Yep, good, thank you. All right, so the purpose of the academic exchange, which was in January this year, and it was the first one, it was really a sort of a first go at this, and the most exciting thing to say up front, I guess, is that we're absolutely going to do it again, and hopefully it'll become a regular thing, and it'll grow over time with the success of the first one, and also already the sort of interest in the second one, which is very good. The purpose of it, really there were two main motivations: to expand knowledge of and solidarity with the revolution in Venezuela amongst the education community, both here and internationally, particularly given the critical role of education in the revolution, but also given what we saw as the relevance of the reforms and gains for educationalists internationally. But also to explore and establish ongoing links and connections and relationships with the comrades and colleagues in Venezuela for the benefit of progressive and radical efforts here, but also and elsewhere, but also in support of the process in Venezuela itself. And at the end of this talk, I'll just flag a couple of the concrete stuff that came out of the tour, which I think is really exciting, and hopefully people in this room would be interested in. Okay, so look, we did a lot and covered a lot, and obviously I can't talk about everything, even if I do speak very fast. So I thought I'd just pull out a few of the key things we did and use them to kind of illustrate education in the revolution at the moment. One of the first things we did, which was a pretty good kick-off for the tour, was meet with the national coordinator of the Mission Rivas program. And I have to apologise too, I had a PowerPoint that accompanied this talk, which had a few sort of stats and things, so if I move through things a bit quick, I apologise, and people can always grab me afterwards. The first thing, obviously, about the education in the Venezuelan Revolution is the question of access, and I think probably most people in this room would be aware of the missions, the sort of massive rollout of free public programs, particularly in education and health, that have occurred. These have, in terms of education, the primary thing that they've done is massively increase Venezuelans' access to education, and even the opposition in Venezuela at the moment says that they will continue with the education missions should they ever get anywhere with their campaign, which is testament to the popularity and the strength and the breadth of them, I suppose. Just a couple of quick figures. Graduates to 2007 in Mission Robinson, which is effectively the literacy campaign, which was based very much, although adapted, on the Cuban model of contextualised learning, which basically enabled Venezuela to now be declared fully literate. More than 1.5 million people have graduated from Robinson. Robinson 2 is the follow-up program, which gives people a primary school primary school diploma, or whatever you call it. Almost 400,000 now have gone through Robinson 2, or 350,000 I should say. And Mission Rivas, which is the ones that we met with and saw particularly, around almost 500,000 have undertaken Mission Rivas, which is basically a program to allow people who had previously never been given the opportunity to undertake high school education graduate from Mission Rivas with a high school diploma. So in total, at 2008, almost 3.5 million graduates in total in those missions, and also the Che Guevara mission, which is effectively a mission around labour skilling, I suppose, where it's a mission, an educational mission directly connected to workplaces. It's essentially vocational education, I suppose you could say, connected to people's skills and knowledge, and sort of combining practice and theory in the workplace. A couple of other quick... Oh, actually, no, I'll probably run out of time, so I'll skip that. Now, the point about the missions, of course, is that they... you know, they're just involving massive amounts of people, either as students or as volunteers running them, you know, facilitating them. They take place in various forms, but the character at the end of the day involves people studying and people facilitating the study, which is just, you know, reaching a huge number of Venezuelans. And, you know, some of the lovely stories of a group of 60-year-olds in this one particular place getting up at 6 a.m. To do their classes, or one bloke got angry when I said that and said I'm actually 74. You know, single mums attending classes in the evenings, and just all sorts of, you know, the diversity of people who have previously been excluded, you know, really excluded, as opposed to the general exclusion of Venezuelan people in the formal education process is really quite exciting. There are interesting models, and there's lots of debate and discussion going on. For example, Mission Rivas and Robinson too are run through video education. Basically, classes consist of a video class, and then people discuss it, and there's a facilitator and that sort of stuff. So there's lots of issues about, you know, pedagogy and how, just, you know, issues there, and lots of plans to evaluate and that sort of stuff. But I suppose the most exciting thing is the content. Ultimately, you know, Rivas, especially the high school mission, is essentially the way this national director explained it to us is that it's effectively facilitating a nationwide rethink about what Venezuela is. I was just chatting to Galen about this a second ago. You know, the way that she was describing it is, you know, previously we were told that we were discovered. Well, newsflash, we were never discovered. We've always been here, but we just need to work out, you know, our roots and our origins, and how that shapes who we are today, and what this new Venezuela that we're talking about and we're wanting to forge looks like. So at the heart of these missions is the generalised discussion and debate that's going on about, you know, Venezuelan 21st century socialism and what that looks like.